Trash cans were a treasure trove of information. He'd find discarded analyst notes, crumpled reports with scribbled annotations, and printouts of stock charts. He started to notice a pattern. The official reports sent to clients were glowing, filled with buzzwords and promises of endless growth. But the private notes told a different story: no revenue, unsustainable burn rate, pure speculation. He saw the disconnect between the public narrative and the private truth. One evening in early 2000, he was cleaning the office of a junior analyst who had just been fired. On the desk was a stack of books, one of which was Benjamin Graham's The Intelligent Investor. Samuel tucked it into his bag. That book became his Bible. He learned about intrinsic value, the margin of safety, and the difference between investing and speculating. He realized the entire dot-com boom was a textbook example of the latter. He remained a janitor at Sterling and Vance, his presence as unnoticed as ever. The firm, having lost billions, went through a painful restructuring. The arrogant young analysts were replaced by a new, more cautious generation. But memories on Wall Street are short. He remembered a quote from his Graham book: "The investor's chief problem, and even his worst enemy, is likely to be himself." The greed was palpable. He saw the same disconnect, the same house of cards, just built with different materials. One night, working late, Arthur saw Samuel in the hallway, carefully picking up a discarded financial report and studying it before placing it in the trash. Curiosity piqued, Arthur struck up a conversation. "Find anything interesting in there?" Arthur asked, a hint of amusement in his voice. Samuel, startled, simply nodded. "It's just paper, sir." "But the stories they tell." Arthur, intrigued by the cryptic response, started talking to Samuel more often. He was astounded by the janitor's depth of knowledge. Samuel didn't use the complex jargon of the analysts, but he understood the fundamentals with a clarity that was breathtaking. He spoke of the market not as a series of numbers, but as a reflection of human psychology, fear, and greed. In early 2007, Arthur called an emergency meeting with his top partners and portfolio managers. The firm was more leveraged than ever in mortgage-backed securities. Arthur argued for pulling back, for de-risking their positions. He was met with condescending smiles. "Arthur, with all due respect, you're being old-fashioned," said a slick young partner named Bryce. "This isn't 1980. The models are sound. Housing prices don't go down." Frustrated and angry, Arthur did something impulsive. He buzzed his secretary. "Please find Samuel Jones, the night janitor, and ask him to join us." The room fell silent. The partners exchanged confused, then amused, glances. A janitor? Was this some kind of joke? Minutes later, Samuel stood at the door of the boardroom, holding his cleaning cart, his blue uniform a stark contrast to the sea of expensive suits. He looked terrified. "Samuel, come in," Arthur said, his voice firm. "These gentlemen are the best financial minds in the country. They've been telling me that the housing market is a guaranteed win. I was hoping you could offer a different perspective." The room filled with stifled laughter. Bryce smirked. "All right, I'll play. Tell us, Mr. Janitor, what's your hot stock tip? Cleaning supplies?" Samuel's fear was replaced by a quiet resolve. He looked not at Bryce, but at Arthur. "I don't have stock tips, sir," he said, his voice steady. "But I know that when you build a house on a rotten foundation, it doesn't matter how pretty the paint is. It's going to collapse." He continued, "You're not selling houses. You're selling debt. And you're selling it to people who can't afford it. You package the debt, get a good rating on it, and sell it to someone else. But the debt is still rotten. It's just been wrapped in a nicer box. Sooner or later, people are going to stop paying. And when they do, all of this." He gestured around the opulent room, "It all comes down." The silence in the room was now absolute. Samuel wasn't using their models or their algorithms. He was speaking a simple, undeniable truth they had all chosen to ignore. He then pointed to a chart on the screen. "You're overleveraged," he said, echoing a phrase he'd read in a discarded memo. "Your whole position is based on the idea that housing prices will keep rising. But they've already started to fall in some areas. When the defaults start, you won't be able to sell these assets. There will be no buyers. It will be a race to the bottom." He concluded, "It's not a matter of if. It's a matter of when. And I think when is very, very soon." After he finished, Samuel quietly excused himself and returned to his duties. The boardroom was left in stunned silence. Bryce and the other young partners were speechless, their arrogance shattered. They had been so focused on the complex details of their financial products that they had missed the simple, glaring risk at the heart of it all. Arthur Sterling acted immediately. Over the next few months, against the furious opposition of his partners, he forced the firm to unwind the majority of its positions in subprime mortgages, taking a significant but manageable loss. Arthur Sterling retired shortly after, but not before he called Samuel into his office. He offered him a check with enough zeros on it to ensure Samuel would never have to clean another office again. He also offered him a job as a special consultant. Samuel politely refused the job. "I'm a janitor, sir. Not a banker. I see things clearly from the outside. I'm afraid if I came on the inside, I'd start to see things your way." He did, however, accept the check. He used it to finally finish his college degree, and then he started a small, quiet investment fund of his own, managing money for friends, family, and other working-class people. He never aimed to be a billionaire. He just aimed to be intelligent. The story of the janitor who saw the crash became a legend on Wall Street, a cautionary tale whispered in the halls of power. It was a story about how the most important truths are often the simplest, and how sometimes the wisest person in the room is the one no one bothers to see. Thank you for watching. If this story resonated with you, please hit the like button, subscribe to our channel for more incredible true stories, and ring that notification bell. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below.